Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a big disappointment, but not just for the fans, also for Disney, in the box office and with the streaming numbers on Disney+. But it's all because Kevin Feige is doing exactly what he said he wanted to do. They didn't want to focus on entertaining people. They didn't want to tell compelling stories with great characters. Instead, for Phase 4, what Kevin Feige said he wanted to do was focus on identity politics, focus on virtue signaling, and focus on pushing a narrative. And that's exactly what they've done to their own detriment. And now Phase 4, mercifully, is about to come to an end with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And with a massive budget of $250 million, which makes the break-even point for this movie $625 million in the box office, Marvel really needs to finish off strong with all these disappointments they've had. But it's not good news right now for them in the box office. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever box office projections significantly decline in lead up till the film's release. And you can't not talk about the death of Chadwick Boseman if we're going to talk about Black Panther. That first Black Panther movie, $1.3 million at the box office. A lot of things combined for that. I didn't think it was a particularly great movie. I thought it was very average, but obviously the marketing that went into it, trying to pass it off as like the first black superhero movie ever, which is obviously a lie, but the marketing certainly worked. But with Chadwick Boseman obviously not going to be in this movie, with them trying to market off the death of Chadwick Boseman, what are the results going to be for essentially an all-female Black Panther movie? If these recent numbers are any indication, it's not trending in a very good direction for Disney. The box office projections for Marvel Studios' Black Panther: Wakanda Forever significantly decline leading up to the film's release date on November 11th. Box office tracking website Box Office Pro originally predicted on October 14th, so a month ago, they would earn anywhere between $180 to $225 million on its opening weekend. They also predicted it would gross a total of anywhere near $445 to $590 million for its entire domestic run in theaters. Now, those are big numbers, right? When you look at that, $180 to $225 million. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is going to be kind of the comparison here. You've got two big MCU movies that release. You got Thor: Love and Thunder, and you got Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Opening weekend for Doctor Strange was $187 million. So they thought that Black Panther was going to outstrip that. They thought that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was going to significantly outpace Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness. We know the story with Thor. We talked about this a lot. $144 million did not track the way people thought, but it tracked exactly the way I fucking thought. I called this from the beginning that it was going to be a disappointment. But let's see how these numbers have changed. However, those projections have significantly declined in Box Office Pro's most recent projections for the film as we get closer. On November 4th, just a couple days ago, they predicted the film will earn anywhere between $170 million and $205 million its opening weekend. Not only were the opening weekends lowered, but so was the total domestic. It declined from anywhere between $435 million to $543. Let's not get it twisted. If this movie does $500 million domestically, that's good news for Marvel, right? Because you add in probably another, 300, 400, 500 potentially internationally. I don't think it'll perform as well internationally as it does domestically. That's obviously a win for them. If those numbers hold up, it would be making money, certainly. But the fact that it is a continued downward trend as we get up to the release certainly indicates there's just not as much of a demand for Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever as they maybe initially expected there would be. Now, I think, I'm going to make a prediction. I think that it will come in somewhere between Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder. You've got $950 million total, and you got $750 million total. I think it'll come in between there, 800, 850 range, somewhere like that. And I do think that for Marvel, you have to look at that and be like, hey, okay, we made $150 million. That's basically what you'd be looking at there. But that's really not what they expected initially. They thought this was going to be massive. They thought this was going to be huge. They thought this was going to be $1 billion movie. And you even have, people continuing to ask, will Black Panther: Wakanda Forever beat Doctor Strange 2 for biggest opening weekend of the year? And then you look into these numbers and you see that the initial ticket sales are significantly less than Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness. So as we get closer and closer to the release of this movie, as people see more clips, as they start to realize what this movie is all about and how cringe and fucking terrible it looks, certainly seems like the interest is going down and down and down for Marvel. Make no mistake, I don't think it's going to lose money. I do think that it's going to be a little bit of a disappointment for where they wanted it to be. And that's the story. That is the story of Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Disappointments. They lost money with several movies. You look at Black Widow, you look at Eternals. Shang-Chi just barely squeaked out a profit. And then you have barely making a profit, really, with Thor Love and Thunder, about $100 million profit on that. Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness still by far the most profitable thing that they did this year. But these are not the results they expected when they committed this much money to Phase 4 of the MCU. Going by Kevin Feige's, let's just make it as diverse as possible. Let's make it as woke as possible. Let's make it as completely identity politics driven as possible. That has not paid off in the way that woke Disney thought it would. And we'll see what happens with this opening weekend for Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. We'll see if these tracking numbers hold. We'll see if it beats Doctor Strange. We'll see what the second weekend is. But I think certainly for a lot of people out there, the more they see of this movie out there, the less they're interested in it. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.